All right, good morning. We are here for the weekly board session of the Marion County Board of Commissioners. It's Wednesday, February 19th, 2025. It's 9 a.m. and we're in the Senator Hearing Room at 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. If you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For a second, I thought you had on hiking boots.
Well, they are. They're Gore-Tex.
Okay. He's ready for all things today.
I got to go to Detroit in the snow.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I need a motion to move item 10 for the assessor's office. Mr. Willis.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion that we move item 10, the assessor's office contract with Helion Software Incorporated from the action agenda to the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. And now we'll move on to public comment. We have one individual signed up, Joe James. Hello, Sarah. Would you please come over to this microphone? Go ahead and introduce yourself, name and address for the record. And be sure to speak closely to that microphone because it doesn't always pick up for the folks on TV.
Is this good?
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joe James, 595 Elm Street in Mount Angel, and I'm here today as a community member and as a father. This morning, I'm also here on behalf of my family, my wife Martha, my son Gabe, and my daughter Maggie. I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of our son's journey as diagnosed with co-occurring psychosis and an intellectual and developmental disability. He is considered to have co-occurring mental health and IDD needs. He currently lives in a group home in Newburgh, although our family does live in Mount Angel in the home where he grew up. We share only part of his story and our family's story, knowing that this is a public meeting. And we want to honor his privacy while sharing, while sharing some of his experiences. As a manifestation of his mental health and IDD needs, Gabe was placed in a group home for children about 6 years ago when we ran out of options to keep him in our family home. A lack of services beyond calling 911 and ending up in the emergency room, only to be discharged a few hours after observation and then repeated a couple days later. There are minimal or no services for individuals with an IDD, mental health, and behavioral health diagnosis. His out-of-home placements have included a group home here in Northeast Salem for children, Trillium Family Services at the farm home in Corvallis, and a state-operated group home called SACU until he turned 18 this past fall and had to move to an adult IDD group home in Yamhill County. He currently receives services through Marion County IDD Service Coordination, and that has been one strength and one positive piece of this puzzle. His current service coordinator, Susie, has provided a consistent, loving, supportive, and compassionate level of service to Gabe and our family. Even when the IDD and mental health systems have let us down, she has been a tremendous resource and advocate for us through Marion County. You're probably hearing a but coming on, and you're right. The lack of services the lack of accountability, bureaucracy, siloing. I promise I practiced this multiple times and this didn't happen.
Yeah, please take your time.
Mixed messages from the experts at ODDS and OHA, as well as a simple lack of services and programs, has been unfortunately predictable and has presented more obstacles than services for Gabe. We literally have dozens of examples where ODDS and OHA promised supports for him and our family, yet we ended up with no services in place. Our request of you this morning as policymakers that you're able to support other individuals like Gabe and other families like ours here in Marion County to get the support they need with family members who are dual diagnosed with co-occurring conditions. We also appreciate that your connections go beyond Marion County. We understand the state makes the rules around services and funding decisions, but we also believe that with the right connections, the right conversations with the right individuals, we can advocate for the right level of services to be in place for people who are dual diagnosed. We want Gabe to be able to thrive and live life to his full potential, not be put into a silo based off of an eligibility, a diagnosis, or a funding stream. We truly appreciate your service to Marion County, and we appreciate this opportunity to share a part of Gabe's story with you.
Thank you, Joe, for being here and for your advocacy for Gabe. What your family's been experiencing is really a tragedy. I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to my peers, and I know that we've had an opportunity to engage quite a bit. And I promised you that I would share Gabe's story, and I am doing that. And I also promised you that I would bring you along with me in the legislature to do that yourself when that time is right. Unfortunately, the Oregon legislative body, and particularly the Democrat leadership, isn't taking this as a priority issue, even though we're having lots of conversations and there's 5 pieces of legislation currently available for them to pay attention to. In fact, today at noon, I have a call that I'm participating in around civil commitment. While I won't bring up Gabe's specific story, it is a part of the narrative that I'm carrying forward on behalf of your family and many others like it in our community. There's a lot of elements of challenge, as you can imagine, when it comes to taking care of somebody as vulnerable as Gabe in a system of care that is as large as the one that we have here in Oregon, and it's so displaced, which was the original intention when they deinstitutionalized the state many years ago. And at the time, it was for the right reason, but it's time for them to catch up with today's society and do some things that are differently. Thanks, Commissioner. So I'm grateful that you're here and that you're brave enough to say what you're saying on the record. I apologize for the emotion because I'm very frustrated for you. And several parents that I'm navigating this with. It's just not okay.
Yeah. We can do better.
Yes, sir, we can very much do better.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Yeah.
And thanks for taking time off work to come and share your story and Gabe's story. I think that's really important.
I jokingly told my supervisors I'm on vacation, but I'm not sending postcards like, wish you were here.
Well, let us know if you need us to follow up with your supervisors, because any of us would be happy to do that.
They have been more than supportive.
Right.
Incredibly supportive.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Thanks for your service, too.
All right. Apologies, everybody, for my delayed emotion.
No need.
All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Commissioner Cameron.
Probably must be my turn.
It sure is, sir.
Definitely your turn.
Let me see if I can focus enough my first day back
Yeah,
to read the
yeah.
consent
You
calendar.
don't have to brag about it.
What, about not being able to focus?
I mean,
All right, Madam Chair, I'll move the consent calendar. First item under the Board of Commissioners OLCC application. Recommend approval of Lupolo LLC, Top Wire Hot Project, Woodburn, Oregon. Board appointment. Under the Fair Board, approve an order appointing Joseph Billington to the Marion County Fair Board with a term ending December 31st, 2025. Under Public Works, schedule final consideration to adopt an administrative ordinance for February 26, 2025 for zone change, case number 24-005, Bill Stanley and Don Edwards. Also under Public Works, schedule a final consideration to adopt administrative ordinance for February 26, 2025, amending the Marion County Comprehensive Plan by adopting 237-acre amendment to the City of Woodburn Urban Growth Boundary, UGB, for industrial land and rezoning land. Still under Public Works, approve an order for the vacation of a public right-of-way within Plat C of the Willamette Valley Irrigated Land Company subdivision in Marion County, Oregon, as described in Exhibit A and depicted in Exhibit B. Public Works, approve a contract for services with Knife River Corporation Northwest in the amount of $493,580 for the supply and delivery of aggregate rock products for the 2025 Marion County Chip Seal Program through December 31st, 2025. Under Public Works, approve amendment number 2 to the engineering and related services contract with Harper Hoff Peterson Regelis, Inc. to add American Rescue Act funding in the amount of $67,135.96 for a new contract total of $701,256.34, and update the statement of work for the McKay Road Northeast Traffic Safety Improvement Project through December 31st, 2026. And finally, under Public Works, approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Salem in the amount of $500,000 for the city to maintain and repair Marion County traffic signals, flashing beacons, fiber optic interconnect infrastructure located outside the city limits but within the City of Salem urban growth boundary as referenced in Attachment A. And finally, under the Assessor's Office, approve amendment number 3 to the contract for services with Helion Software, Inc. to add $241,045 for a new contract total of $1,532,655 and extend the term date to September 30th, 2025 for Oregon County's assessment and taxation system services.
I second the motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thanks, Commissioner Cameron. All right, now we'll move on to our first item under action, under the Board of Commissioners for the Public Safety Coordinating Council appointments. Gary.
Good morning, Commissioners. Gary White with the Board of Commissioners Office. Good to see you all this morning. While my guests get seated, I'm here this morning on behalf of the board to present for your approval 4 candidates for the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council. In addition to 3 new members, the council is asking that you approve Allison Kelly's appointment to the Executive Committee representing nonprofit service agencies. Ms. Kelly will be filling in the remainder of the term previously held by Jane Downing. The candidates are here, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, but I thought real quickly I'd let them introduce themselves, and then you could follow up. So we'll start right here. Am I right?
Dr. Carlos Texero Maldonado. I'm familiar with a lot of you, and I don't know if you have particular questions, but should I just share a little bit?
Yeah, tell us why
Right.
you're on this council, maybe who you're representing.
Absolutely. So I'm with Bridgeway Community Health. I've been serving our community for over 25 years in the behavioral health field. I was actually supervisor with Marion County Health and Human Services for about 13 years. And now I've been with Bridgeway. I also serve in the local alcohol and drug planning committee for the last 3 or 4 years.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Morning, Commissioners. Allison Kelly. I've been serving as the CEO of Liberty House for the last 11 and a half, almost 12 years. And I actually, when I was lucky enough to be a department director here at Marion County, also served on the Public Safety Coordinating Council and the Executive Committee. Liberty House is the nonprofit organization that serves children who've been referred for concerns of trauma including physical abuse, sexual abuse, trafficking, neglect, witnessing violence, and things like that. So it's highly specialized. We're the only pediatric organization serving Marion County. We serve about 1,000 children a year between our medical clinic and our therapy program, and we have a prevention education program that we're really proud of. We serve between 1,200 and 1,500 adults a year. And we've recently just earned national accreditation, being recognized as one of in the top 5% of all the children's advocacy centers in the country. So it's an honor. I just want to say the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council is just an amazing group of dynamic people, and I really want to give you all credit in your roles as elected officials, also the Marion County District Attorney's Office and the Sheriff's Office. The culture and the inner collaboration, all of it is just amazing, and it's a real honor to be included and to be appointed to this new role.
Thanks, Allison. I can't believe it's been almost 12 years. I feel seriously, I feel like I was just planning a masquerade ball for like whatever it was when we did that.
Hi, good morning. My name is Dave Gerbeau. I am honored to be here as the 43rd Fire Chief for the City of Salem. I just entered my 33rd year in the fire service, and one of the takeaways I've certainly had is the benefit and the power of relationships, coordination, and collaboration with other agencies, and certainly see that within the Coordinating Council. Appreciate the opportunity and look forward to working together to strengthen public safety within this region.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ashley Carson. I'm the very new Executive Director for the Center for Hope and Safety. Most of you probably know what the center does, but we advocate for survivors and victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, and stalking in Marion County. And I'm excited to be able to work with all of you in this new capacity. I had the opportunity to observe at the last council meeting, and I was also very impressed, and just the collaboration across all of the different entities, organizations, and people, I think, is really doing wonderful things for this region, and I'm looking forward to bringing forward the victim's perspective in that work moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Commissioners, any questions, comments?
What a group. I mean, just a fantastic group. And I know, Allison, you've been a part of the Public Safety Coordinating Council for a long time, and it's one of the two victim services nonprofits here in town, both Center for Hope and Safety in your organization, that I think it's 10% of the justice reinvestment that we get every year goes to both those organizations, and appreciate all the things that you both do for the women and children in our community. And I said this to David earlier when I went over and said hi. I think I've seen the chief from the Salem Fire Department more in the last month than I saw the previous chiefs in 12 years, right? Nothing derogatory towards them, but I really appreciate your statement about being involved in the community. And it's not just a statement, it's obviously the actions that you've been taking since you've been here. And Doctor, I don't really know you that well, but I was looking at your application and your resume, and I'm going, wow, who could get all those degrees and from Corbin and Oregon State University, two really great universities, and your practice, and really appreciate you're going to bring some really good things. So thank you for your service to all of you in our communities and on this important Public Safety Council that Commissioner Willis is leading now these days. So thank you very much.
Yeah. I'll just add thanks for your time. I do value your time, and I know giving up some time every month or every couple of months is a big deal. So thanks for doing that, and thanks for leaning in, and thanks for those of you who have spent literally years serving our community and being willing to kind of continue it, not be tired. And like Commissioner Cameron said, thank you to you two who are kind of new to this Public Safety Coordinating Council space, and for your enthusiasm and being willing to jump right in. I really appreciate it. I do. So.
Anything else, Gary?
No, I want to make sure you had your questions answered.
Oh, I know them all. In fact, I have phone numbers for every single one of them. Thank you. Commissioner Willis.
All right, Madam Chair, I move that we approve orders appointing Allison Kelly as a representative of community-based nonprofit organizations. Oh, that's a. All right, I'm going to read this, and I apologize if it doesn't sound quite right, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I move that we approve orders appointing Allison Kelly as a representative of the community-based nonprofit organizations, the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council, with a term ending September 15th, 2025, and Ashley Carson, Fire Chief David Gerboth, and Carlos Texador Maldonado as citizen members with terms ending February 28th, 2028.
I'll second the motion. I have a comment.
Okay. A motion is second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah,
All right.
thank you. Just a clarification, the nonprofit organization is, by statute, it's required to be a victim's assistant on the Public Safety Coordinating Council.
That's what threw me
That's-
in the motion.
That's
I was a little confused by that.
Allison's group, and they both qualified to fill that role in the based on the statute. Of course, legal counsel's gonna look it up and tell me I'm wrong.
Nope, you were not wrong. In fact, I know this to be true because I looked it up before, based on the wording of this
More importantly,
paragraph.
the legal counsel, that motion is valid, is that right?
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thank you all for being here and for your service.
Thank you very much.
Try to stay dry today. All right, let's move on to business services to consider approval of the public improvement agreement with Space Savers Specialists. Good morning, Tamara.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tamara Getch, Marion County Business Services Director, here before you today to present a contract for Space Savers and to install high-density storage units in our yet-to-be-built, new to come to us. In the spring of this year, we'll be starting construction, and these units would provide a modernized storage unit in this building that is built into our design, as well as lockers that our officers would be able to put evidence into the units safely until it can be fully processed. This Space Saver design is something that when we visited evidence buildings throughout the area, were something that were used well and utilized space so that they could handle a high amount of evidence during the storage until it can be either destroyed according to the laws or to be held until it is used for processing through the court system or otherwise. So today, the contract is for $401,588.66. Space Savers would do both help us in the purchasing as well as the installation of the units into the new build. I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Commissioner, do you have any questions?
No, I think we got them answered.
I'm ready for this building to be built.
Yeah.
The ITB should be released next week.
Great.
And then construction should start late spring.
Okay.
Was delayed because we had to do some special digging. Okay. You won't need
Exactly.
a motion. I won't say anything more.
Okay. You can say
Madam
whatever you
Chair-
want.
Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve a public improvement agreement with Space Saver Specialists, Inc. in the amount of $401,588.66 for the delivery and installation of storage units and lockers to the Marion County Evidence Building through August 31st, 2027.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Any discussion at all? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. All right.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Tamara.
Appreciate it.
All right, Greg, we're going to approve amendment number 1 to the contract for services with Alliance Solutions Group for grant funding, it looks like.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Greg Walsh, Marion County Emergency Management. So this today is, I was here a few weeks ago about our contract between Marion County and Oregon Emergency Management using our State Homeland Security grant funding to continue our city's emergency operations plan project. This is the actual amendment for services between Marion County and Alliance Solutions Group, our contractor that was chosen through the process for phase 1. We sent that statement of work over a few weeks ago after the management update. And so this is basically the additional funding added to that contract so we can have that, our contractor continue to work with all of these cities, initiate the meetings to meet with all of those partners, our key stakeholders from each city, and develop a comprehensive emergency operations plan for each of them.
Greg, can you tell me what the compensation section of this contract is that's listed off well, not every city, but several cities with a dollar amount?
Yes, ma'am. So we were allocated a certain amount of funding for this phase, which is the 121, I think, 234, and basically what 121, 345 for the total amount for this phase of the project. So what that breakdown is the estimated cost for each plan for the cities. So this is, again, phase 2. So we've already had a series go through with our first year, which was 82,000. So adding this additional funding gives us the opportunity, and that is the breakdown for how much each plan essentially is costing the contractor to write for us. So
Thank you.
it's our way of essentially allocating funding towards each plan to make sure that we are giving a good quality plan for each of those. And this will also likely continue into a third year when we receive more allocated funding from OEM in the next grant cycle, so we can complete all of the cities in Marion County.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, Commissioner Willis.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve amendment number 1 to the contract for services with Alliance Solutions Group Incorporated, ASG, to add $121,345 in Oregon Department of Emergency Management grant funding for a new contract total of $203,937, and provide emergency operation planning services for 9 Marion County cities through September 29, 2026.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thanks, Greg. Have a great day.
Thanks, Greg. Good to see you.
Ryan, please come forward and let's hear about a construction contract with Bent LLC.
Sorry.
No worries.
No lid?
No, but can I have a napkin? It doesn't matter.
This one's almost empty.
Hold on. You just,
Sorry.
just keep talking and I'll dry myself off over here. You're a funny guy.
You're never going to let me sit next to you ever again.
If I had control of that, I wouldn't.
Is that Canyon Strong? Which one is that?
Yeah, this is after the,
I think Trevor should find you some lids.
well,
Yeah, they sell lids for those.
It's fine. Please carry on. Well, let's turn it to a different direction here.
Perfect. For the record, Ryan Cruther, Marion County Public Works Capital Projects Manager. And as you said, I'm here today to talk about our Mill Creek Road Bridge and the construction contract with Bent LLC. So the project's located between Almsville and Turner on Mill Creek Road near 70th Avenue. You can see here the red dot shows where exactly this bridge is at. This existing structure was built in 1930. It's nearing the end of its useful life. We were awarded a grant through the Local Bridge Program, a federal grant program that ODOT administers, to replace this bridge. You can see here's a few photos of what that looks like. The scope of this project is to replace the bridge with a new bridge that meets all applicable standards, and then we're also going to realign 70th Avenue to accommodate the new structure. If you've driven this road, you know that turning right from 70th onto Mill Creek is a difficult turn. We're going to move that road further away from the bridge so that we can actually facilitate vehicles turning onto Mill Creek. The low bid came in from Bent LLC at $1,999,459. Again, because this is a federal project, the majority of this is paid for with the federal grant. The county's contribution will be approximately $205,344, or 10.27% of the actual costs. The construction schedule, we have in the contract to reopen Mill Creek Road by November 30th of 2025 and complete construction, substantially complete construction by May 30th of 2026. I did see in the agenda item that the date listed was December 31st, 2025, which I believe may have been an error on our contract review sheet because that substantial completion date is in 2026.
Okay, so we're updating to December 31st, 2026, for the record, Commissioner Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, and with that, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, other than to say that what's happening out there right now is Northwest Natural.
Yes.
Yesterday, we talked about this briefly, and I live out this way, and there's all these signs saying long delays expected, and I've heard about these delays So I asked Ryan, I was like, what's happening? And he was like, no, it's Northwest Natural. So they can take the blame for now, and then it can be you later.
Yes.
Any questions, commissioners?
Well, just, Brian, can you go back to the pictures of the bridge?
Yes.
Yeah. I read a book when I was on vacation called Sweet Mountain Water. It's a really interesting historical book about the water system in Salem. If anybody wants to read some, and it stops at about 2003, but it goes back through the history, and Mill Creek is part of that, the Salem Ditch. It's really interesting that I didn't know the whole history and the battles that they went through here in Salem. It's off the subject of but that, and when I saw Mill Creek, I was thinking they talked a lot about that in the book, and I remember floating Mill Creek. This would have been in 86, 80, I don't know, way back when. You ever done that? Getting an inner tube on Mill Creek?
I have not on Mill Creek. I have on the Santiam
I
many,
was
many
gonna say the
times.
same thing, yeah.
I can't imagine the Mill Creek.
It's kind of
actually, like-
overgrown probably now,
Yeah.
but then it was kind of it was like 100-degree day and we didn't care. But anyways.
It really kind of, this creek, where I know that it travels, is pretty close to lots of like side roads. I'm not sure I want to float next to a side road.
Yeah. All right. Madam Chair, I'll move that we approve a construction contract with Bent LLC in the amount of $1,999,459.50, of which an estimated $1,794,115 will utilize federal funding and an estimated $205,344 will utilize county funds for the Mill Creek Bridge replacement through project through May 30th, 2026. And who's going to pay the 50 cents?
Is it May or December? It's December 31st, 2026?
Our substantial completion date is May 30th of 2026. And because this is a federal project, we don't put in a contract expiration date because we're expected to see the contractor complete the project, and we close the project once it is fully complete. So that is a construction completion
Okay,
date.
so
that's
is my
included.
motion was through May 30th, 2026. Is that what you want?
I believe that is correct.
I know, he has to. No worries, yeah, please. Come on. We want to get it right.
There.
So the date issue is not in the contract, is that correct?
So you'll see in the introduction, there is a time for completion. I believe it sends you to a spec section 180H, if I'm
Okay.
correct, and that is where our completion dates are.
I might suggest we just take the dates out of the motion, or alternatively, if you wanted to pause this so I can look at it and you can continue on with the rest of your agenda, and then I can get you a more definitive answer. But I would be comfortable if we didn't have any date and we just said something like, as reflected in the contract. Then
Okay.
we're good either
That
way.
makes sense, okay. So I'll restate the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'm going to restate the motion to approve the construction contract with Bent LLC in the amount of $1,999,459.50, of which an estimated $1,794,115 will utilize federal funds and an estimated $205,344 will utilize county funds for the Mill Creek Road Bridge Replacement Project as stated in the contract.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to, what am I going to do? Pause the board session and open up public hearing. And we just barely made it. It's 9:34 a.m. The board has reviewed the documents contained in the record and has had no ex parte communication regarding this matter unless specifically disclosed. If there are any objections to notice, jurisdiction, or conflicts of interest, the parties can raise them during testimony. Planning staff will list the applicable criteria for the application. Testimony and evidence must be directed towards the applicable criteria. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence may preclude appeal on that issue. And just for the record, the public hearing is to consider zone change, comprehensive change, case number 24-003, Johnny C. Davidson. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, this is John Speckman, Marion County Planning. The criteria for making a decision in this case are Marion County Rural Zone Code, Chapter 17-123, Zone Change Procedures. Chapter 17-136, Exclusive Farm Use Zone. Chapter 17-128, Acreage Residential Zone. Statewide Land Use Planning Goals, particularly Goal 3. OAR 660-428, Irrevocably Committed Exception Requirements. Marion County Comprehensive Plan Policies, particularly Rural Residential Policies. The item before you today is an application to change the zone from EFU, exclusive farm use, to AR10, acreage residential with a 10-acre minimum, and to change the comprehensive plan designation from primary agriculture to rural residential, with an exception to statewide planning goal 3, agricultural land, on a 2-acre parcel located at 11679 McClellan Road, Southeast, Almsville. The Planning Division requested comments from various government agencies. These comments that were provided can be found in the staff recommendation as well as the case file. The subject parcel is located approximately 2.5 miles southwest of the Almsville urban growth boundary. The parcel is within the Santiam Water Control District. The subject parcel is 2 acres and contains a temporary medical hardship manufactured dwelling placed in 1991, a residence built in 1870, and several small accessory structures. The subject parcel consists entirely of high-value soils, a mix of Clackamas gravelly loam, Salem gravelly silt loam, and Sifton gravelly loam. Adjacent properties to the north are zoned AR and composed of rural home sites smaller than 1 acre in size. Adjacent parcels to the west are zoned EFU and composed of home sites and agricultural uses on lots ranging from 10 to 30 acres. Adjacent to the south, across West Satan Road Southeast, are more EFU zone properties and a mix of rural residential and farm uses, ranging in size from 2.5 to 62 acres. The applicant seeks a zone change from EFU to AR10 in order to qualify the 1870s home as an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, under Marion County Code 17-128-020J3, and to convert the temporary medical hardship into the primary dwelling. The hearings officer held a duly noticed public hearing on November 7th, 2024. On January 13th, the hearing officer issued a recommendation of approval. The applicant makes the argument for the inability of the subject property to be commercially farmed due to a 150-year history of rural residential use and the related developments that have occurred on the subject parcel in that time. The rural residential development occupies approximately 1.38 out of 2 acres of the subject parcel. The remaining 0.62 acres is arranged in such a way that farm use, either in isolation or conjunction with an adjacent parcel, is impracticable. The north adjacent AR zone neighborhood contains non-conforming parcels of 0.3 to 0.6 acres at a relatively higher density than common in the rural area. Adjacent farm uses are buffered to the south by West Staten Road Southeast. Farm uses to the west are buffered by an access road, mature trees, and residential structures. Farm uses to the east are buffered by other parcels primarily devoted to rural residential uses. A more in-depth analysis of the Goal 3 exception may be found in the HO recommendation and the case file. The subject parcel meets the criteria for an irrevocably committed exception to Goal 3. The applicant addresses how the proposal conforms with the applicable policies for the rural residential designation in the Marion County Comprehensive Plan, as well as the criteria in Marion County Code 17-123-60 for approval of a zone change. To this end, the applicant representative performed a 2,000-acre study of surrounding uses. Detailed analysis of the criteria and the 2,000-acre study are included in the staff report, HO recommendation, and the case file. Staff and the HO determined that the applicant meets all applicable criteria. Staff analysis of the submitted 2,000-acre study determined that the proposed zone change would neither increase density nor alter the existing pattern of development in the area. Approval of this proposal will allow for the conversion of the 1870s home into an ADU under MCC 17-128-20J3 and conversion of the temporary medical hardship into the primary dwelling. And I will stand for any questions you may have.
All right, thanks, John. Commissioner, do you have any questions for John?
No, it was very well done. You
All right.
outlined it in detail.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Commissioner.
All right, applicant's presentation, is it Margaret Gander Vo?
It is.
Your handwriting is super tiny.
Boxes are pretty small.
Yeah, they are. Agreed.
Good morning, Commissioners. Oh, is that on?
Is the light on?
It is.
Then it should be. Just close, just pull it to your face.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Margaret Gandervo. I am the attorney for the applicant, and we are really grateful to staff for their detailed work on this. This has been a really collaborative process. The only thing I would add to John's presentation is that this request is very consistent with the development in the area. In the record, there are depictions of the area, and you can really see that to the north there is an existing subdivision that has been in place before these types of land use regulations were in place, and allowing for this exception and this zone change just brings the applicant's property into conformity with that existing subdivision. So because the presentation was so well done, we're mostly here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Margaret?
No.
Commissioner?
No, I really don't. It's pretty clear cut to me.
All right, we don't have anybody signed up for testimony in opposition. Is there any general comments for the record? If not, I'm happy to receive an action.
Okay. Madam Chair, I,
You need to close the public hearing and go back into board session for the motion.
okay. Madam Chair, I move that we close, you had already closed it. I move that we approve the application. Make it short and sweet.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you,
And just for the
Commissioners.
record, I live like right up the road from you. I know what your house is. My house is blue. Yeah. Yeah. I drive by at least twice a day. Yeah, thank you. All right, is there anything else for the record, Commissioners?
Oh, it's good to be home.
All right, glad you made it back.
Yeah.
Is it really?
What?
Said,
Is it really? No, well, yeah.
Okay, well, with nothing else, the meeting is adjourned.